You know, I just had a thought while pulling these weeds. A lot of the times, we can look around nature to find answers within ourselves. And when pulling weeds, we pull them out to look appealing, right? We pull the weeds to grant us some kind of cosmetic, interference. And where I'm getting with this is the weeds are a lot like our faults in life, a lot like our issues, our deeper issues. They come out of the ground, they grow really fast, right? And we pull them down, we toss them to the side. We're not pulling the roots out, A lot of our issues come from not fully dealing with problems, only dealing with the fruits of our problems. And, if you're doing it for cosmetic reasons, like it's your side garden or something like that, it's not that big of a deal, right? And that's what we treat them as, is we treat our issues as cosmetic. We only take care of them when they become noticeable, rather than when they are choking out the fruits of our garden or the vegetables, right? There's a deeper purpose to that, and I feel like we've forgotten how fast our problems can grow out of hand. If we don't trim them regularly, if we don't cut them down, they grow fast. But that's the problem, is we're only getting rid of what we can see. We're only getting rid of the issues that pop out of the ground. We're not getting rid of the issues deeper beneath the surface, which takes a lot more work. If you've ever gotten rid of weeds, a lot of them have roots that go so deep, just like in our lives. Those roots stem all the way back to childhood traumas. They stem all the way back to not even traumas sometimes, but circumstances where you felt embarrassed, where you felt lesser than you are. And society today has us pulling out the things that people can see, and that's not how it should work. We need to, within ourselves, pull out the roots so that those things don't manifest themselves at a time where we're sick and we can't weed our garden. We are a lot like our garden, and we forget that a lot of the time, that how close to nature we really are, how closely nature represents us as humans, the life cycle, how we are still a part of that. We understand it and we ponder it more than maybe an animal does. No way to tell for sure. I believe so. But we're treating the cosmetics of our issues. We're treating it so other people see us in a better light. When in reality, sometimes we need to take a day off and really dig into our garden. And a day of digging in the garden equals months, sometimes even years, of really weeding out the problems, getting to the roots of our issues. Because when these things grow out of hand, sometimes we don't have the energy or the manpower to deal with them. And then those weeds end up growing into other people's gardens. I like to think as people as gardens, because we all have different fruits, we all have different flowers, we all have different purposes, and yet at the end of the day, we're all gardens. We all have weeds we have to deal with. We all have animals coming in and eating our food. We have destructive forces in our lives. The animals, I feel like, represent circumstances in our lives, and I feel like the weeds represent past circumstances in our lives, choking out what we could truly be, right? And if you stop taking care of your garden, you're not a garden at all. You become a patch of weeds. And then that patch of weeds will continually spread into other people's lives. And I think we need to recognize the importance of keeping ourselves fruitful, keeping ourselves trimmed, not just for the onlooker, not just, oh, look at me, I'm a better garden than you are, but hey, look at this. I used to be a weed-filled garden like you, and now I've become a beautiful, trimmed, well-maintained patch of fruit, which you can now share and plant seeds in other people's gardens to help them grow the same fruit as you. Not because you're better than them, but because you are them. You have been in those places. You know, we're too quick to judge based on the fruits in people's lives and how they carry themselves. And we forget that we once never were able to carry ourselves at all. We all came from the same place. We all started off as a plain patch of dirt. And based on experiences, based on other gardens dropping either good fruit or weeds in ours, the animals we have come across, the trials, we forget that everyone is a garden at the end of the day. And we compare ourselves too quickly to other people rather than to the things, the beauty in our lives, the beauty in the forest, right? Because at the end of the day, we are all part of the same ecosystem.